Coaches, lead done here with your video for the game of the week, the 4-goal game. As you'll see, it's a 4-goal game because each team has 2 goals in which they can score in. Now you'll see I've set up using different equipment in this example. We have pug goals, flat cones, pointy cones, and then flags. So depending on whatever material you have, you should be able to play this game nice and easy. The next simple step is that there are going to be enough soccer balls on each end line so that your players are ready to play no matter what. You'll see in the example here on the right, number 4 has the ball ready to play, but as soon as the ball's out of play, to encourage speed of play, to encourage quickness and tempo in the game, we'll then make sure that they grab these balls here and are ready to play straight away. You'll see that the fields are set in these examples for 7v7 and for 9v9, and they're both set for about 20 by 30. Now this will change depending on the number of players you have and the number of space you have to play in. But this is what we're looking for to maximize the amount of space that the players have on the ball, the amount of times that they're going to receive the ball, the amount of challenges, the amount of mistakes that they're going to make. I think the next key thing to discuss is the coaching position. Coach is in a perfect line of sight for both fields. Now you may find yourself as a coach in this area too on the bottom, but try not to find yourself in the middle, because as you're looking this way, there might be all sorts of things happening right behind you and you'll never know it. So let's take a look at the amount of time that's going to be spent in these activities. We have 1 minute for around our 7v7s, and then we're looking at least 2.5 minutes as a maximum. 2.5 minutes is a very long time for kids to be able to play, to keep the intensity high and to also keep their interest levels and the quality of play. You might often find that kids will start messing around any kind of time longer than what they like. So that will be a very good test for you to then see, okay, we've got to 2 minutes and they've kind of lost interest a little bit. Well, that might be your benchmark. And the same, it may also just be a minute. Now, remember, if we can leave them wanting more and more, then we're doing a pretty good job. They're more likely to come back for practice. So we're actually going to look at using an RPE scale, so the rate of perceived exertion. So we have 0 to 10, 0 being I'm just laying down on the couch doing nothing, and 10 is the hardest thing I've ever done. Now, we're looking at working 8, 6, or 4 times. So we're doing reps. If we do 1 minute of activity 8 times, that's going to require 100% effort. And we're on the RPE scale, we're looking at 8 to 10 RPE. So you can simply ask the kids as they take a break in between each rep. We're looking at about a 1 minute break. And then in those 1 minutes, that's a perfect time for you to either ask them how they're feeling, give me a scale number, but then also walk through with them some practice ideas, and I'll show you that shortly. Same again for the 75% effort when we're looking at 6 reps. And 5 to 7 RPE, and then round it out with 50% effort. So this could be, for example, if you practice on a Monday and you've just had a solid tournament weekend, you may be looking more at this 4 levels of 50%. Same as if you're working on a Thursday ready for 1 game on a weekend, you might well consider looking at 100% effort. So let's take a look at 7v7 to begin with. Looks like we have our number 8 starting on the ball down here. Now he can hit into, of course, the number 9 or into the number 7. I've put the number 8 off, as you see indicated by the red line. It's going to keep him off the field. Now you can predetermine how long that's for, whether it's for 1 pass, whether it's for 10 seconds, depending on what you're trying to achieve. We want the blue team to win here, of course, because we're starting with the ball and we're playing against the 2. Now I may say, for example, when we first start this, I may give him a 5-second time limit. So blue team have got a 5 seconds to score by playing the ball in. Now they're going to still look to score in either this goal or this goal, and after 5 seconds, this number 8 can then join in on the field. You'll notice that the players all have numbers corresponding with US Soccer's guidelines on numbers instead of positions. So instead of my number 8 here being the central midfielder, he's actually in the number 8 position, which is the same thing, but this is the way US Soccer is. So I'm looking for number 8 to play in. Now, right now, we're playing man for man. And the thing I like about this man for man is that it gives us an opportunity to play the ball into the number 7 or to the number 9, and the ball to come right back into the number 8's feet and bring number 8 into the game. This wiggly line is going to be a dribble. Now, number 7 here, if he was to switch onto the other side of the field, he would actually become the number 11, which is the left winger, and you should see other material on that. Now, our positions, we keep our triangle shape and simply play. Can number 8 play the ball in? I'll create a rule that he has to pass or she has to pass first off. But then you may also change the rules and say that they can also dribble in and play a 3v2. Remember, the number 8 can then join in after 5 seconds, join in after 1 pass, or whatever limit that you want. Remembering that if the blue team are starting with the ball, we want the blue team to have success. If we wanted the red team to have success, I would actually start the number 8 in the field, probably put him in right about here. Therefore, now we're playing in a numbers balance situation. It'd be more of a defensive focus. Because we've got 3 versus 2 at the start, we're looking at a more attacking focus. So now referring again over to the 9v9 and looking at the number system. We have our number 4 starting with the ball, but he could also be our number 1, our goalkeeper, depending on the shape that you play, the formation that you use. I also like using number 1 in situations like this if we're working on playing out of the back. We play out to the number 3 over here, we push him nice and wide, we push the number 2 nice and wide, that gives us our defensive shape, and number 3 being the left defender and the right being the number 2. We have our number 8, who's our central midfielder, and looking at this, we're probably just working on basic shape. It could be a playing out of the back, it could be a phase of play from a defensive free kick. Then on the other side of the ball, we're looking at the shape of the red team, how they work together. Notice that we're playing 4v4 as opposed to 3v3 from the 7v7, simply due to more numbers in a team at this age. Then we're also looking at them being able to work in more than just 2s and 3s. So we can actually start looking at more of a connected shape here, both playing in diamonds. Adding levels of realism to the practice is incredibly vital for the kids to begin to understand the game, but then also be able to relate it to what they see at the weekend. Remember, a lot of kids only see what they see from their own practices, not enough of watching the game or studying the game or playing the game beyond what they have at regular practice. So we're starting to build in looking here with phases of patterns. So we could look to get the ball into the 3, who could then get the ball into the 8, and then perhaps our number 2 is making a dotted line run here, and the ball can go from the 8 again. Now, why would the number 2 move there? Well, in a game, this would be our wide winger. So there's not a goal there in a game, of course, but he can look to get the ball in that goal as quick as possible. There's our goal. There's the reasoning for having 2 wide goals. So again, the constant reflection is in a game, we would have a player in that position out wide and we'd have a player in that position out wide. The 2 and the 3 are always looking down the field, down the wings. That's where the space is in a lot of the games. That's where we're going to have most success. What you may also find is the ball could go in here to number 2, but then all of the red team may suddenly start coming in and pressing and crashing in on the space. Well, number 2 maybe not be able to score in this goal down here, but we have a second goal. And this helps encourage the players to play perhaps a negative and then wide into the 3 after all the reds have moved and create space down the channel. And relating this to your regular game, the constant references of remembering the game when. And in this perfect example, we have all of the reds crashing in. This is a perfect freeze moment. Freeze right there. Look at our number 3 all the way over here. He's in so much space. How do we get the ball to him? 1 quick pass, 2 quick passes, and a goal. And suddenly we're actually starting to paint a better picture for the kids to understand the game. And then finally for the red team, if they get the ball or when they win the ball, I may actually have a rule for the 7 and 11 or actually any of the players really that instead of passing the ball through the goal, because a number 7 is not going to pass the ball through there in a game. Why? Because they're generally the player that's in that position to receive. So for the blue team, the rule was to pass the ball into the goal or shoot if you like, because there would be a player there in a game. But when we're looking at the red team being the attackers and the number 9 being the furthest up the field, we could actually implement some kind of rules where they may have to play a combination with the number 9 to get it back into this gap, and then the number 7 dribble through. So they're still scoring, but they're scoring just simply by dribbling through these gates. Again, another way of using our equipment, that these little cones are not going to block us. We can dribble over or dribble through that goal, whereas the blue team can score in those goals. Then we play 1 minute up to 2.5 minutes. We can then have a pause during that 1 minute break. We may explain how we can have the ball combining between the 7 and the 9 in here, what that may look like, which way the number 9 may move, which way the 7 and the 11 may move to get into this space. Perhaps they go around the outside of the 3 there or around the outside of the 2. And that's what we use that pause in play for. We could do a couple reps if we're looking at the 8 times maximum effort. Could do 4 on each side, so after 4 reps we switch, and then the blue team suddenly become the dribblers through these goals down here, and then the red team can start scoring in those goals, and there's more of a reward for the players there too. you have any questions on the game of the week for this week, then leave a comment or drop me an email and I'll happily explain more to you. Enjoy and thanks for watching.